How does it feel to have a ton of work, working your butt off, but your bank account doesn't reflect the hard work that you're doing? Hey guys, welcome to the Painter's Circle, where we help painting business owners scale their operations, increase profitability, and gain more time freedom. I'm Taz Mullis, and in this podcast, I'll share actionable tips, expert strategies, and real-world insights that'll help you grow your painting business without burning you out. Ready to take your painting business to the next level? Let's go. Oh yeah! This is a question I've got a couple of times this week, and I want to explore this, and maybe you have the same problem too. Now, one of the biggest mistakes most painting business owners I see make is mistaking sales with revenue. What do you mean, Taz? So, for the most part, when I'm talking to business owners, they're explaining to me, Taz, I would like to hit this revenue target per month. No problem. So they focus on sales, which makes sense. They focus on sales activities, leads coming in, winning jobs, winning proposals, and booking in the pipeline. And then they book out all this work. They've got, in this instance, I was talking to a client the other day, 400K of converted work to get done. Now, for them, they have to hit over 126K per month in revenue to maintain their overheads and pay themselves and make a profit. So that is their target number per month based on the capacity of their team. However, they would like to improve that. So they're focusing on sales. So although, and don't get me wrong, I love sales. Although sales is really cool and super sexy, ultimately you don't bank sales, you bank jobs getting done, which is delivery. So it's important that we understand how to attract, convert, but you have to deliver your services so you can invoice. So if your business right now has got plenty of work coming in and you're working your butt off, but your bank account isn't reflecting your hard work and effort, I want you to take a step back and start looking at your pipeline. So your pipeline in your painting business is how much work have you got booked in each week for the number of weeks going forward, or each month for a number of months going forward. So in your business, there's going to be a number that's too short. It may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. That may be your minimum lead time that you want. Like when it gets under 4 weeks, you need to know you've got to start booking in jobs. But it's also on the reverse side. Potentially, there's a number that's too long where people don't wait. So if you've got, in this instance, when I'm talking to this client, their frustration is they need to continually hit their target revenue amount. The problem is they're not hitting it. So they're focusing on more sales. Like I said, sales is a predictor of revenue, but it's not revenue. Your revenue, the amount of money that you make, is directly related to the amount of work that you do and what you schedule. So if you have a target of 126K, but the capacity of your team can only output 110, it's unlikely you're going to hit your target. So you don't have a sales problem, you have a throughput problem. Now, there's 3 core functions of your painting business. I've been doing this for 30 years this year, and I can't think of a much more simpler way to explain it of how your business runs. We have input, sales and marketing. That's getting people eyeballs on you, requesting quotes and proposals, building relationships, you doing those quotes and proposals and winning jobs, which is sales. You have sales and marketing. After that, when there's a decision and they say yes, they move into scheduling and delivery. This part of your business is one of the most critical parts directly related to how much revenue that you make. I'm not talking about gross profit, I'm talking about revenue right now. That's a different video. So if you have a revenue target, but you are scheduling under that target, or you have capacity to work that can only do under that target, it's unlikely you're going to hit it. So I need you to start thinking about, great, sales is amazing. I love sales, but you have to actually do the work and invoice it. So potentially you need to look at a few things. That's what we're going to cover here today. So in this instance, I had a good coaching session with a client and we pulled their business apart. So we started looking at, we had to work out what is the production rate per painter per week. So what does that mean, Taz? Okay, what is the output on average, the actual real current output per painter in this painting business, by the way, per week? Because unless you know that number, how do you know in advance the target you're going to hit? You're just making it up. And unfortunately, there was some assumptions made that the average production rate per painter was 4,400 per week. Now, this is not a judgment, good or bad, it just is. So that was the actual assumption being made. So all the assumptions based on scheduling and delivery were based on that number. Now, we sat back and I went, okay, if you're not hitting your number, we have something's potentially out here. So let's look at the actual production rate, not the projected or predicted production rate. So we look at last financial year, got up all the jobs, right? How many guys, divided it and worked out the production rate per painter for the last 12 months. And it was closer to 3K per painter, just a tad over. Then I went, okay, you may have improved in the back half of last year. So we looked at the last 6 months. So we looked at the last 6 months at the actual production rate and noticed that it jumped almost 27%. It was almost at 4K. So I think it was about $37.50 on average per painter production. So invoiced amount per painter. So based on that, we total up all the painters in the business. If you have apprentices, you give them a percentage of that number. If a percentage is 50% of a painter, there'd be 50% of $37.50. Okay? We totaled that up and we worked out that the number of team members that he had on site, if they worked every day for the month and no one got sick, no one was late, they would hit the target. But we all know in reality, things happen. If you've got a team of over 10 people or even over 6 people in a month, life happens. Some people are late, some people are sick, some people go on holiday, by the way. People take leave. So they were running at red line. So everyone was working their butts off. I said that. And they were just hitting target, but it felt like hard work. Feeding it with more sales won't fix the problem. You're just prolonging your pipeline. So when you have a consistent pipeline or you're attracting your ideal clients and you have a consistent way of converting those clients into jobs and you can build out your pipeline, whether it be 6, 12, 20, 12 weeks, whatever the number happens to be, it is what it is. Your job now as a business owner is one of two things. One, how do we, if we've got 450K worth of work, ready to book in, how do we, instead of taking 3 months to do that, how do we do it in 2.5 months? Because if you can do 450K in 10 weeks and not 13 weeks, guess what happens? You've got the same overheads. The only additional cost is your labor and material cost, which is a cost of sale. So as long as your gross profit isn't tanking right now, adding additional labor, but knowing your production rate per painter is going to help your bottom line. That is the only way you're going to improve revenue, and more likely back end on that, it's going to follow into your profit, is by increasing your delivery, focusing on delivery of your services at the standard that you already do. Focusing on sales only without delivery, you're just missing the boat completely. You're relying on luck. So 1, you need to schedule to the capacity of your team. 2, you need to understand what is the actual capacity, not what I think it is, not what someone told me it might be a good idea, what it is, what it actually is. And please don't run into the wall of not doing this process of understanding your production rate per painter because you're concerned of what the result will be. It's your business. The very first step in fixing a problem in your business is to understand exactly where you're at right now. Whatever happens to be, 31, 32, 50, 37, 50, don't listen to the bullshit that other people tell you what theirs is. You're running your business. Your goal is to understand exactly where your business is at and let's say it's at $3,750, and this gentleman wants to get to $4,400, the gap is the 4 and the 250. It's $650 per painter per week. So that's what we're trying to work on. So we have to know what the real number is. There's no good or bad. It's just feedback. The second component is, while you're doing that, now I'm talking to business owners that are booked, flat out, busy as, working their asses off, but their bank account isn't reflecting it, is I want you to start looking at your pricing. I'm making one assumption here. I'm making an assumption that your performance of your team is pretty consistent. Making that assumption. Because if you're not hitting your target production rate for your business per man, per painter or woman, then potentially you also have a pricing problem. The beauty of a healthy pipeline is that it gives you time to start looking at how you are selling. Now, going out there and going, I'm going to put my prices up 20% may not be a good strategy unless you're really, really good at sales. But for the most part, I'm serious here, most tradies, most painters I speak to, they're not that good at sales. They're really good at order taking. They're really good at customer service, but the point where they have to have that uncomfortable conversation live with a client, talking about the investment and handling objections, they seem to avoid that really awkward conversation. So for the most part, most painting business owners, they price, they visit customer service, they go away, create a quote or a price or a proposal, whatever it happens to be, they flick it on, and then a small percentage of them follow up. A large percentage of them tell me that they should just choose them because they're good and they know they're good. And then most of them are waiting for acceptance. So that's order taking, not really sales. A smarter way to look at your pricing is to first understand, okay, what is my current conversion rate? Like, how many jobs do I win? Like, if I'm quoting 10 per month and I've won 4, that means you currently have a 40% conversion rate. I'm not trying to confuse this. Don't focus on the conversion rate. It's a metric to understand how you're tracking, not the goal, okay? Don't think because it's 80% it's good, don't think it's 20% it's because it's bad. That's got nothing to do with it. You just want to know where you're at, remember? Once you know that, and like I said, you have a pipeline of work, a lot of work that's not scheduled, ready to get done, you start looking at that and going, okay, I need to start tweaking our prices. Now, a smarter strategy is if you are 10% off where you need to be, think about this logistically. 10%, 2.5% or 3% per quarter increase over 12 months isn't that complicated or overwhelming. When I say 2.5 to 3% per quarter, 3% per quarter is 1% per month. 1% per month over 12 months. It gives you time to correct, improve your sales skills, answer objections, get much better at understanding what the client actually wants, understand perceived value versus intrinsic value. You get better over the next 12 months, and over time you get better and better. Like, this is the reality. 1% of an average dollar sale, for instance, I don't know, some businesses are 8K, some are 10. I know my painting business, it's above 18K average dollar sale in residential repaint. Let's pick in the middle, a 10K average dollar sale in a repaint business. 1% increase is $100. If you're losing work because of $100, that's not a pricing problem. You're not losing on price. You are 100% losing on an inability to communicate value to the client. Because we're talking about pennies, cents in the dollar right now. And when you take a longer term view of a pricing improvement in your business over 12 months, 1% per month, not only is it not scary, no one's going to feel it. Do you struggle with a plan in your painting business that's fast, clear, and specific? Our Game Plan Builder turns your chaos into a tailored plan. It's built fast, it's built for you, and it's built to move. Check out the show notes for your copy and download it today. So I just explained to you two components. One is immediate component, like how do we complete more work in a shorter period of time? There's a frame I like to use when I'm talking with clients that money loves speed. So if you have 2, 3, 4, 500K worth of work, for instance, and you've got, I'll pick 500,000. You've got 5 months to do it. It's 100K per month. Sounds great. But what if you did it in 3 months or 2.5 months? Much better for you being able to complete that work, because why drag it out? I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, we used to do in our painting business a lot of large commercial residential painting projects, blocks of buildings, with 20, 30, 40, 50 apartments in them, 10 buildings, and that was the market we were in. And I fell in, and I'm not knocking this industry. I'm sharing you my lessons from it. I fell into the trap going, ooh, cool. It's $1.2 million project. Amazing. Sounds really good because the number's really big. Okay, 100K a month over 12 months. That's awesome. What we have to also factor in is 1.2 million sounds amazing, but it's over 12 months. When you're working on projects like that, you're working at the capacity and the schedule and the program of the actual construction site. Versus when you're in other industries, how can you do 1.2 million in 3 months? See, it's about speed. So 2018, so what's that, a while ago now, we were in that sort of 18, 19, up to 2019, and we had the interesting events of COVID. We were heavily in that market, and that's what we used to do. We'd probably sit between 3 to 3.5 mil per year. Currently, we've worked on how do we get more done in a short period of time, and now we're consistently hitting that 1.2 in a quarter because money loves speed. So it's not just about the sale value. And this is the problem that came up on a call a couple of days ago with a client. They have a ton of work, like I said, 400K of work, accepted, ready to rock and roll. But they're scheduling increments and mistaking time as leverage. So we're just scheduling 126 over 4 months, and that's cool. Or 3.5, 4 months, that's great. But it doesn't actually fix the problem. The problem isn't the pipeline. The problem is the speed of getting the work done. Remember? Throughput. So the real problem they have, and potentially you have, and the real problem that I'm working with them to correct, and now we have a very, very clear plan of how to do it. Because if you don't know where you're at right now, it's very hard to get to where you want to go. The most important part of a goal or an outcome is point A, where you are, and point B, where you want to go. The next step is I need a plan to get from point A to point B. So they fell into the trap of focusing on more sales. That's not the problem. Sales are fine. They've got a load of work. What we do is to fix the problem of revenue targets, which ultimately fix the problem of net profit targets, because the more revenue they can create under the same overhead, the more profit they make. Because their costs are fixed, other than labor materials, which is gross profit, so it's fine. So now we have a very clear plan of what to focus on. Step one is, how do we complete more work in a shorter period of time? Recruitment, contractors, that's the problem we need to solve, because that's the actual problem we have. 2, over the next period, because time's going to pass no matter what, how do we get our 3750 actual production rate to 4400 and beyond? Because that is the sweet spot that we're working at. Because the simple fact is, if your business can produce more revenue and profit per resource, then you have a healthy business. Does that make sense? So we've covered a lot here today. And this video is primarily for those painting business owners that are busy being busy, but super frustrated because their bank account isn't reflecting that with actual money in the bank. It comes in, it goes out. It comes in, it goes out. It comes in, and guess what we do? We fall into a trap. I fell in the trap twice and burnt out by mistaking with, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to try harder. Try harder. I want to save you from burning out. Trying harder at the thing that's not working is not going to work. Does that make sense? You're going to burn out. If you haven't already experienced burnout, it sucks. So look at your business right now. If revenue is the thing that you want, and the byproduct of revenue is profit and money in your bank account, start looking at your ability to complete more work in a less period of time. At the same time, understand what your production rate is and look at improving it. Like I said, I made the assumption that the performance of the team is pretty stable or consistent. And how do you know the performance of your team is consistent and stable? You have target budget hours, you have actual hours. If they're close, your team is consistent and stable. There's another video. So if you're in that position and you're thinking about, wow, yeah, I'm sick of my bank account not reflecting the amount of work we're doing. We seem to be busy all the time. I'm busy running around being busy, but my bank account's not reflecting that. And you want a plan, guess what? We've created this amazing tool called the Game Plan Builder. It's 15 minutes max. You just have to follow the prompts, answer the questions, truthfully answer the questions about where you are, what's going on, and where you want to go, and exactly what you want that outcome, and it will give you a game plan. In that game plan, it's going to actually tell you what the things you shouldn't be doing. Because your ability to move to your intended destination or outcome, in this instance being revenue and profit, has more to do with letting go of the shit you're doing that's getting in the way. This isn't about doing more. This is about doing what works. So on the back end of that, it's going to tell you what not to work on. It's going to tell you what you need to focus on, but more importantly, it's probably going to give you, it will give you what is the number one thing to focus on. What is the leading domino? If you hit that domino, it'll move you through it. Now, we built this tool based off the 3 core functions: input, throughput, output. We based it off the back end of pricing, performance, and pipeline, and also the capacity and financials of you and your business. So the better and clearer you answer the questions, the input, the better the game plan you will have. So in 15 minutes, you'll have a game plan to get unstuck, remove the overwhelm and the anxiety about how do I fix this problem? I'm busy being busy, but I'm not making money. Starts with a plan. Guess what? This game plan builder that, would you believe it? I built it because it's built by a painter for painters. Will take you 15 minutes to complete. It's absolutely free. Check the show notes below. Click the link, access it there, and just follow the prompts. You will need to have access to ChatGPT, whether you have a free account or upload or create a new account. Ideally, if you're in business, you should get the paid version, because if you're not using it right now for other things, you're going to be left behind. But that's a completely different video and topic right now. So if you are busy being busy, your bank account isn't reflecting the amount of work that you're doing, and you want to make more money, better revenue, and more profit, it starts with a plan. Check it out below. All right, stay cool, be well, and as usual, see you in the interwebs. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss expert tips. If you want some support, check out the link in the show notes and see how we can help you. Don't forget to follow us on socials @PainterCoach. Stay cool, be well, and as usual, see you in the interwebs. Bye.